If you are a coach like me who has ever felt stuck on choosing captains, then this is for you. I'm actually about to tell my team, I'm going to go to practice here shortly and tell my team that we're doing things differently. We're changing it up because I do not like how I have chosen captains or how things have gone in the past. And I've been coaching for 14 years, won 4 state titles as a coach. And even with that, I'm like, things need to change a little bit. So or, like, if you're a coach that is just curious on, like, how other coaches do it, I would love for you to comment below and let me know, like, how you choose captains as I'm going through this process of trying to figure it out. So, anyways, the reason why I'm, like, thinking of a change is that I've had pretty strong leaders and captains in the past, and it's always just been natural. Like, this upperclassman that's coming up, like, she's gonna be the leader and the captain, and so is this other person because they're just, like, naturally that it just makes sense. But this is the first season that I've had in a really long time where that's not the case. Like, I don't have upperclassmen who are natural leaders, who are like vocal leaders, and it just doesn't make sense for me to just appoint captains. So the thing that I'm changing, and I'm going to tell my team about this, like I said, is we're going to pick captains early. So instead of waiting, I've always just waited until the season started, and that's when we've done it. I'm going to start right before spring training starts. So I coach volleyball, it's a fall sport. We start to train like in late spring. Honestly, if I would have thought of this sooner, I probably would have done it sooner. But better late than never. But I want the captains to start getting comfortable with their role earlier. I want them to like be a voice in the group chat and be a voice at summer workouts and like start flexing their leadership muscle early because like our season once it starts is like 12 to 14 weeks long, and it sometimes takes them like a good part of like more than half the season for them to figure out their leadership style and all of that. So like let's start earlier. So I'm going to pick early. The other thing I'm gonna change is, I've always just done it by a vote, and I know that sounds super, like, maybe not intentional, but I've always just done a vote to kinda get people's voices heard, and then I've, for the most part, agreed with what the other players are choosing. I'm not gonna do it that way this time. I am going to come up with 7 questions. I've already started brainstorming a little bit, and I want the program, so we've got 36 girls in the program. I want the program to decide who best fits each of these 7 questions. So I've got things like who best represents CR volleyball, who communicates the most consistently and clearly, who handles mistakes in adversity well, who do I trust, who leads by example, not just by being loud. So I've got like a few of these questions that I want the program to identify, like who is that person? So it's based on like what we value in our program. So I'm going to change that as well, kind of like the selection process. I also want to know ahead of time who wants to be captain. So a lot of times we assume that everyone wants to be a captain when that might not be true. Yes, I do need people to lead, but that's also a thing that I'm going to be changing. That like not everyone wants the title of captain. So I also just want to get kind of a sense of who's interested. The other thing that I did think of this early at the end of last season on their like exit meetings. I had my exiting seniors put down who they thought would make a good captain for next season. So I kind of have like a little bit of an input, a little bit of an inside look on like what my seniors, and I had 7 of them last year, like saw from a teammate perspective. And I don't know exactly how I'm going to use that information, but I do think it's useful. So a little tip if you want to do that as well. And to kind of recap, first of all, I'm picking captains earlier this year. I'm having my program kind of identify leaders based on the qualities and the values of our program. I asked for input from our last year's seniors that were exiting. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to involve them a lot more in our mental training that we're doing this year. I think that's one of the ways that they can like be a really great leader because we do mental training in our program. We carve out 20 minutes one time a week to do mental training. So we teach things like breath work, visualization, like a way to come back from mistakes, just really simple mental training skills that we do with our team that actually like make a big difference, especially in pressure situations and when it matters. If you do want exactly what I do and the strategies that I teach, go to coachbretraining.com. I've created a whole training about that if you want to know that piece of it. So coachbretraining.com. But I'm actually going to include my leaders in that because part of what we do for mental training is we teach them a small skill. Like we literally just like play the video. It's like 3 minutes long. And then we lead a discussion afterwards. And I'm going to have my leaders be the ones that are leading the discussion. And the discussion is quick. It's like 3 minutes, if that. There's questions that are like predetermined and you get those questions. And I'm just going to give them to my leaders. I'm going to have my leaders be the facilitators of it, because I want them to be the most invested in our mental training. Because I don't know about you, but when you have a leader and a captain who has the role, they got the C, but they're falling apart after mistakes and they're snapping at their teammates when things aren't going well, when we're losing, like it just ruins the whole vibe of the team. So I need my leaders to be the most mentally strong and the most confident. I need them the most bought into the mental training, because that's really what makes the biggest difference is like my whole team's energy is going to follow the leaders. And so I need them to be resilient. I need them to be strong. I need them to be able to like bounce back quickly from a mistake. So I'm going to make sure that they are the leaders and the most invested in the mental training that we're doing this season. So anyways, that's how I'm doing it. I'm really curious to hear what you're doing, because like I said, I just want to learn from other coaches. Like, what's your captain selection process? Do you make a big deal about it? Or are you like, nah, it's actually not a huge thing and we just pick the upperclassmen and that's that? Oh, by the way, I usually pick like 2 captains. Sometimes I've got 3, but 2, 2 has been pretty good. And then we also do a lot of leadership training and kind of give them specific roles, because that also is not inherent, like how to actually be a leader. That's another big piece of it, beyond just picking them. But curious what you do, comment below with that. And if you want to check out that free training where I break down the mental training skills, go to coachbretraining.com. See you later.